Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
You're on.
Welcome into a Friday edition of the JP Peterson Show as our Wi-Fi screws up right off the top. So how long was I sitting there looking into the camera?
About 10 seconds.
I was doing my Carrie Underwood. I was waiting for the music to start, but it did not. So here we are.
So let's hear you say.
Welcome into a Friday edition. It's a football Friday. We got two more of these left, right? Today, tomorrow, or next week. Before the Super Bowl. So we'll get into some Super Bowl props today with the little betting angles. We'll do that in the second part of the show. We got Josh Queipo coming on from the Pewter Report. He spent the week in Mobile in the first class accommodations of Pewter, doing all that Senior Bowl stuff. So which edge rushers caught the Bucs' eye? We will talk to Josh Queipo about that. Josh is also an expert at breaking down tape. I love following him on Twitter. If you're not following him as a Bucs fan, what are you doing? Because he's really got some great takes and very cool. So very much looking forward to talking to Josh Queipo. Also, we'll get into the Rays going to Orlando. The Bucs at the Pro Bowl, and of course, the Bolts get a big 3-0 win last night. I have to laugh about this Orlando thing because it just, I don't even know where to go half the time with the stupid stadium stuff. I've never, ever seen anything like this in the history of professional sports in terms of getting a stadium. Never. I mean, Oakland's journey was crazy, but this one is just as bonkers. Well, more bonkers for me. I mean, it's been 17 years, 15 years, whatever it's been, every iteration. And obviously the ownership of the Rays has been the issue. So we'll get into that. And some other fun things here today.
Only in Florida,
What's
I'm telling you. Only in Florida with the stadium stuff.
That's true. Well, yeah, because Miami had problems too. Why do we have such a problem here? It's weird because every other place it's fine. It's fine. You guys build stadiums real easy. It's very, very frustrating.
We build stadiums like we build grocery stores.
All right, we're having some major Wi-Fi issues here. Are you good?
Why don't
Timmy?
you turn off your Wi-Fi? Turn off the Wi-Fi and just go on the phone data stuff if you're on Wi-Fi. Does that make sense?
Just go cell phone.
Yeah, just go cell phone.
I might have to take this down for a second. So
no, you're good.
You can riff for a second while I do this.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the
riff away.
We're gonna get into the Kings, JP, of course, as they blanked the Lightning as they blanked the Kings last night. Finally getting back on track. You got to your 3-goal goal, which of course, when you score 3 goals and you're the Lightning, you tend to win. When the Kings don't score 3 goals, they tend to lose. And you got a big shutout from Vasi last night, 28 saves. Hagel scored 2 goals and an assist. Big night at Amalie last night. And of course, JP was there.
It was unbelievable last night.
Yeah, Sorelli had a shorty. And it was Vasi gets a shutout, 37th shutout of his career. Big game for the Lightning to get back on track.
Yeah, he said he was fine. He actually talked to the media afterwards, which is always exciting. But his teammates kind of iterated. He was sick on Tuesday. He's got the muckety muck whatever's going around. Couldn't post on Tuesday, which is very rare for Vasi. But and I was wondering, I was like, if he's even going to play because Johansson has a lower body injury, so he couldn't. I get the feeling that he couldn't play, and they would go to the E-Bug goalie. Conan. So Vasi just kind of stepped up and then had a flu game, I guess. Can we call it a flu game for him?
Sure.
As he gets his 3rd shutout of the year, 37th career shutout. I'm not going to say he was standing on his head last night. He didn't have to make too many spectacular saves, but it was the usual big save when they needed it. In the 3rd period, when it was still 1-0, he came up with a couple of really, really big saves. The only one he missed was actually reviewed and called back for offsides. It was as the really key part of the game. And Cooper talked about this at the end of the game when they were pressing really hard. The Kings were, and it was a 1-0 game. And the Bolts had a power play. Their power play was not good last night. 0 for 2 last night, and they just they were just kind of taking too many passes, not being aggressive in shooting. You've seen, even though they outshot them last night considerably, there was, again, for my money, way too many, trying to make too many pretty plays. When you're not scoring and it's not going in, I think maybe you try to be, too cute with it and get the perfect opportunity. Well, that didn't work out, but they got the win last night. But again, I thought they could have probably 6, 7, 8 goals last night. Rittich, their goalie last night, was really good. He played well. He got the number 3 star. But Vasi got the number 1 star. He was great. He gets the shutout. But I think, honestly, and Engblom said this at the end of the game, that Hagel was, I think, the number 1 star last night. He was everywhere. And even on the follow-up goal that makes it 2-0, as Cooch comes in and on a breakaway, Hagel is back at his own blue line and starting, most times you get a breakaway, right? But especially with Cooch, you're just going to half-ass skate down and watch him, score probably. But he knew that from the get-go. He was trying to get to the net and follow up whatever was going to happen with Cooch. Hustles down the ice. Doughty gets in his way and, interferes with him. But he fights through Doughty and then beats him to the puck. And, that's basically the game winner. That seals it. They get an empty netter late on a 6-hour shorty. But really, I thought the 2-0 goal, obviously the 1-0 goal, the first goal by Hagel was just, that was sensational. As he skates through 3 Kings. As I said, he went through more Kings than a French Revolution. He was so energetic. He was that guy last night. And you need that. You got to have that kind of energy when you're in these kind of slumps, and to get that big goal to make it 1-0. And then the Kings, who have trouble scoring anyway, are chasing the game. And the Lightning, and we had both Engblom and Chief on our post-game show night, so I didn't have to do any work, dog. I was just like sipping on my IPA, like, you two guys talk hockey, I'll be over here. I'll do the ins and outs. You guys handle the rest. They don't want to hear from me. But, I thought Chief made a great point about them being patient. They were very patient. They didn't try to get to, the second goal, third goal, fifth goal. They just waited for their opportunities, kind of like the cup teams did. Wait for your opportunities, counterpunch. You don't always have to be the aggressor. And especially a team like the Kings, who want to counterpunch, who want to, get you to make a mistake, turn the puck over, and then put it in your net. So we're like, okay, you're not going to take the bait. We're not going to take the bait. We're up 1-0. We're going to let the game kind of come to us. Be patient. Don't force anything, and just wait for something to break. And then it broke. Cooch got the breakaway. Hagel followed it up. Now it's 2-0. So that's the way they need to play, and especially when scoring a lot. And look, again, last night they had plenty of high danger chances. They forced a lot of good. They did a lot of good things, but it wasn't going in. Second period, bro. I mean, our whole highlights and our intermission on the second period were just missed opportunities. And, Paul gets a turnover right in front of the net. I mean, right in front of the net, comes right to him. He's one-on-one with the goalie, and he can't lift it up. Kucherov is like right there on the doorstep, has a wide open net, and he shoots it just over the crossbar. Hagel had a great opportunity. Sorelli had a great opportunity. I mean, and you're just this one, just like few games, just like most of January, open nets. They just can't score, but they didn't get frustrated, and they didn't get loose on their back end trying to force to get that second goal. You had the lead. You didn't need to, right? You don't have to chase it when you don't have to chase it. So don't do that. And they stayed patient, and they got the win. And Vasi gets the shutout. So big 2 points for the Lightning. Is I think there's now 5 points separating 6 teams in the Atlantic. Every point is going to be absolutely crucial from here on in. I mean, and you've got the Islanders come Saturday, and they've won. I think they're 8-2-1. They're red hot. So you got the Islanders coming in Saturday, and then you got 2 with Ottawa, back-to-back. Two with Ottawa, who's right there with you. So those are 8 points. That's an 8-point swing right there in those 2 divisional games. So, and then I believe they're back on the road, and then the 4 Nations. So these are this stretch here in the next week is absolutely critical for the Lightning to get a little bit of breathing room. I think when the schedule eases up, I think Brisebois is going to make a move to bring in another scorer, give them a little bit more depth. Maybe a right-hand defenseman as well. We shall see. I don't think he's going to stand pat. So a lot of good things last night.
Yeah, Victor Hedman, of course, on Thursday was named captain for Team Sweden for the 4 Nations face-off, taking place of the All-Star game or the All-Star week, whatever you want to call it, which, we haven't really talked about that. I kind of like it. I'd rather watch something like this than the dumb skills. The skills competition was cool, but
oh yeah, absolutely.
I think sports in general is the All-Star games, maybe with the exception of baseball, is sort of going by the wayside, right? I don't think anyone's interested in those anymore.
No.
He becomes the 10th Swedish-born player to appear in 1,100 regular season NHL games. And then we also had another sort of rarity last night. Now, everybody loves the goalie goal, obviously. That's an awesome situation. Everybody loves the goalie fight. You got to love the goalie fight.
Yep.
Going back to Patrick Waugh, Chris Osgood, maybe the best ever. Or was it Mike Vernon? I can't remember which one he fought. But last night, Vasi gets a 21st career assist. He's getting goalie assists last night. Now, those aren't rare necessarily, but they're fun.
They're pretty rare. That's his first of the year. Yeah, to get a shutout and an assist, that's not too shabby in one night.
That's pretty good.
When you're about 50% because you're sick. It was a hell of a night for Vasi, and he's the Rock, man. He's the Rock, and as long as they got him, they got a shot. They got a shot to win a cup. And I don't know if this is a cup team yet. I'm kind of but there's a lot to be seen. I mean, they're in the mix. They can't beat Toronto, but I don't think Toronto's that great. I think a couple of tweaks, and we've always said this about the Lightning. They're going to get better as the season goes on. You're still, it's still rather new. The Gensel, no Sergei, no Stamkos. This is still a developing team. And when they add some at the deadline, once again, you got to kind of bring those guys in as well. So I think there's a lot that can go on in this team. They're in the hunt. They're not out of it. I still think, you look at all their metrics. They're now the second highest scoring team since they've been in the drought.
Yeah.
They're scoring drought. That's air quotes.
Right, Stephen Jones.
Yeah. So they're fine. They're fine. And I'm not panicking. I know a lot of Lightning fans are, but that was a big win last night. That's when they really needed, coming off loss to the Blackhawks. So now you got 2 points out of this homestand where you wanted to get 8. Now it's going to be tough, like the Islanders, and then if they can run the table on this, awesome, fantastic. But that's going to be tough. That's going to be tough.
Before we move on from Lightning and hockey, I have a Brian Engblom question for you. As we got to get him on the show, man, because I was a big Habs fan. I still am a big Habs fan, obviously, and he played in the heyday for the Habs, drafted by the Canadiens, 75, I think. And of course, that was in the peak of my little kid hockey, right? Bob Gainey was my favorite player back then.
Oh gosh, I didn't put that together, bro.
Yeah. So I'm a huge Brian, the player fan. And of course I loved through his broadcasting career at ESPN and all that, but as a Montreal Canadiens fan, of course, remember Montreal won 3 straight cups in 77, 78, and 79. I found out just very recently that Brian Engblom's name is not on the Stanley Cup for the 77 team.
Why is that?
So I went to look at some of the stats because, the team has the option. The team puts whoever they want on it,
Right.
And I'm like, well, I know he played. Like, why is his name not on the cup? So I went and looked at stats. Well, he didn't appear in the regular season, apparently. He only appeared in 2 games in the playoffs and not in the finals. But I swear to God, I've heard himself call himself a 3-time cup winner, which he is. I mean, he is. He was on the team.
Yeah.
He's a 3-time cup winner. but his name's not on the cup for the 77 team. I've always wanted to ask him about that. Like, what's the deal, man?
That's weird.
Yeah,
I did not know that. Well, I'll ask him off the air so we don't ambush him on the air.
Yeah. No, for sure. I didn't want to bring that up on the air or anything, but yeah, I mean, just like I've always wanted to ask. That night me and Johnny were supposed to come to the arena. I wanted to ask him about it, if I saw him there, but it's just, that's always, man, it's like I said, I just found that out like in the last couple of years, probably.
Yeah.
When I was looking at it, because I looked for my names on the cup, and it wasn't there. So
interesting. Very interesting. Well, I will definitely ask him. All right. We've got some comments coming in. Well, first of all, a lot of this is about the Rays Stadium. And so let me just give you my take on this.
Yeah.
The Orlando thing is nothing but, once again, a diversion for what's going on in St. Petersburg. And interesting, the timing of it as well. When Stu was trying to get leverage and get the vote passed in St. Pete, he well, in my opinion, enlisted the forces of Pat Williams or whoever. And this is not to say that, it's a big psyop going on, but I think he probably reached out and said, hey, we might be looking at Orlando. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, let's get Pat Williams. Let's trot him out in the Orlando Dreamers and start talking about baseball in Orlando. Now, what happened yesterday was had a little bit more substance to it. They now have renderings of a stadium where they would want to build it at SeaWorld, $1.7 billion. And they have a new front man in Barry Larkin, obviously Hall of Famer, Cincinnati Reds, grew up in the Orlando area, if I'm not mistaken. And they're talking to Major League Baseball, and they not only are looking at the Rays, but as possibly an expansion city. I think it'd be a bit of a stretch. I don't think Major League Baseball would be interested in having a team in Orlando and St. Pete and Tampa. I don't think that's going to happen. So anyway, the problem is they've already committed a lot of their tourist dollars, I think $400 million, if I'm not mistaken, to refurbishing that crappy Camping World Stadium. So, that's a stadium that brings in a lot of games for them and brings in heads and beds and all that stuff. So they're going to put some money into that. So as far as I know, they don't have a whole lot of public money available, certainly not $1.7 billion, and have no ownership group. Which is going to have the ownership group would, if it were the Rays, would have to pay at least $2 billion for the team. And it's always been my understanding that there would be a relocation fee. Now, obviously, these are markets that are close. Major League Baseball can make their own rules when it comes to that. But, I don't see these other owners not wanting to get something out of whoever would buy this team. And if it's Stu moving the team to Orlando, I don't think they would ever allow that. There definitely would be some type of relocation fee for that. They're just not going to let other markets away with no money. So there's always going to be a relocation fee involved in that. So that's $1 billion. So you got $2 billion to buy the team. They don't have an ownership group. $1 billion for a relocation fee. And then you got to build a stadium. So you're looking at $5 billion. Where's the money? I don't. They said they have $450,000 in pledges. Okay, we're still a little short. So I think this is just another ploy. I know Stu is in negotiations to sell the team. So is this just another ploy to bring another market into it, get leverage, bring more prospective owners into it to obviously if you have more suitors for your team, the price goes up. There could be a bidding war. So to me, I don't think Orlando's real. I don't think they have any money. I just don't see. I don't see them being able to. You got to find owners. You got to find all this other stuff. Where is it? I mean, come to the table with a group and some financial backing, and then I think we could take you more seriously. But at this point, they don't have any of that. It's not like Barry Larkin's got $2 billion laying around that he's going to spend on the team, face of the whole thing. So I don't know. It seems like Dreamers is the very appropriate name for that because it all seems like more like a dream now. And I think it's probably leverage against, St. Pete, maybe, with Stu asking for more money from St. Pete or the county, they've said no. But is this a ploy to, hey, we don't want him to move to Orlando, so let's come up with more money. I know he's trying to raise money for the funding gap and maybe put some pressure on it that way. Either way, I've never seen Orlando as a serious threat until they come up with some money and an ownership group. It's just, I think, just leverage at this point, and probably has a little something to do with Stu. That's my thought.
Probably, yeah.
I'm not, it's not like, Orlando's coming to get the Rays. I think Tampa's the spot. The group is still trying to make this happen. They're still trying to figure out stadium issues in Tampa. And, Ken Rosenthal wrote the piece. Well, let's not forget it. It's not just me saying it. Ken Rosenthal wrote the piece, folks. There's a group in Tampa trying to buy the team, and basically said in the summation of his article, which was kind of half reporting, half opinion, said, look, if you can't afford the St. Pete deal, you're not going to find anything better than that, Stu. Sell the team. And that comes right from Manfred. So,
well, and let's be honest. If there's multiple buyers, one's in Orlando, one's in Tampa or Tampa Bay, wherever, St. Pete, Clearwater, wherever they're coming from, MLB's most likely going to pick the team, the purchasers that are in the local area, rather than try to move the team. So that is such a long shot. Even if, and by the way, I can find no ties that Barry Larkin has to the Orlando area or Florida. He was born in Cincinnati. He's never played anywhere in Florida. He's never. So I don't know what his tie is to the city of Orlando in all of this, unless they're just using his name. Yeah. No, they may just be using his name as part of the group.
He has no connection to Orlando.
Nope. Wow. Not that I can find.
All right. Well, that's weird too.
Yeah.
So I don't take it seriously, and I know we had some comments on this in there. If you want to bring them up before we get to the
yeah. Let me find Canals, Jags, blah blah blah, Bucks basement. I'm just ready for the stadium stuff to be over. It's exhausting at this point. And JP, the problem is Stu, and it will always be.
I'm with you, brother.
Stu.
I'm with
Bucks
you.
Race
I'm
Bolts.
exhausted.
Bucks Race Bolts says hi, Kyle and Tim.
Who's Kyle?
I don't know. Is this the Kyle and Tim show? I don't know what's happening there.
I don't know. Hi, Kyle.
Let's see. Daniel Rivera, good morning to you. Brazil also mentioned the new stadium deal, Pinellas and St. Pete. The Rays said they can't commit due to 2029 prices, which is total BS. Brody got the wrong info on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen this guy, Brody Brazil, making videos, very slick stuff, but it's all regurgitation of that everybody else has said. Not trying to be, mean or anything, but I've seen very nicely done. Great production value. He's very great. He's an excellent presenter. I don't know. Do you know who this guy is?
I've seen his videos, but that's all I know.
Excellent presenter. We could use some of his technology. He's really good. He's got a great voice. He's an excellent presenter. Has great graphics and everything. Does a really good job.
I bet he's got amazing Wi-Fi too.
Which we will have soon, right?
Yes, we're working on it. The Rays belong at the Florida State Fairgrounds. It's not the sexy location, but with Hard Rock nearby, the parking lot at the fairgrounds is already in place. In the end, it's going to be Ybor.
Yeah, Daniel, I like, I've always been more of a downtown guy. I think Ybor is a better spot because I think baseball is an urban game. Most of the great stadiums are downtown on the water, right? They're very accessible to the business area, because I think Monday through Thursday, the lifeblood of a stadium is your premium seating, which comes from businesses, for corporations. That's the lifeblood. That's the local revenue. That's where you make most of your money, and in TV. But for ticketing, it's premium seating. So for premium seating in companies to buy these seats, you'll want it near the hub of industry and companies. West Shore, downtown Tampa, Midtown Tampa now. Those are the areas of people that are going to buy the tickets, the law firms, all the companies, small and large, medium. That's where you get your lifeblood, that premium seating. So you have to have it easily accessible Monday through Thursday, so people can get out of work, take the trolley, take a scooter, take an Uber to the downtown park. Game starts at 7 o'clock, 6:30, whatever. And, you go right from work, you go there, you eat dinner there, you watch, you have beers, you watch baseball, you're done by 9:00 and you're gone.
Yeah.
That's the model. And there's Monday through Thursday games. You're going to average 25,000, 20 to 25,000, somewhere in there. And then you fill it up on the weekends. That would be the urban. Now, I think that's the urban program. You go out to the fairgrounds. Now everybody's got to drive and park because nobody lives there. Now, that's a big enough space where you can, build a lot of condos, build apartment complexes. So you can put residential there. If you build a big area entertainment district there and then surround it just like the Braves did. I mean, there's tons of apartment complexes and condos that have sprung up around the Braves stadium. And you could do that there on the fairgrounds. And obviously that adds to your real estate taxes and funding for the ballpark. So all of that works. You have the land to do it there. And now it's not in the city limit. And obviously there would be a huge component with the Hard Rock and the Seminole Indians. I think they would be very much involved in that. With the state, that's state fairgrounds, that's state property. State is very much in business with the Seminole Indian tribe through gambling. So it comes together there. And there may be a connection to the ownership group that is trying to buy in Tampa. So all that comes together and works really well. So you can connect the dots on that. So that works. And I think in Ybor, it works as well because the city can get involved and you can get a lot of growth around there. You talk about residential and corporate. You can get a ton of growth with the baseball stadium there. So either way it works because you can get a lot of private money and that third that's why you can get a different funding source, right? Public, private, you have the team, you have public money, and then you have the developer coming in who can make money as well. That's kind of the new template for doing things and building stadiums, and that would work in either one of those places. I love that.
There it is.
All right, so we got to hit a break because we got Josh Cup.
Yeah, quick break and then Josh on the other side.
Yeah, let's hit a break. We'll hit up with Josh Queipo, who just got back from the Senior Bowl. We'll talk about the offensive coordinator position and just kind of go over what the Bucs need to do in the offseason and wrap up what we saw this season. We are brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. We are coming to you from the Jeeves Law Group studio here in beautiful South Tampa. If you have any legal questions whatsoever, give them a call. Just go to the website, jeeveslawgroup.com, JEEVES lawgroup.com, or Google it. Give them a call, give them an email, tell them what's going on, and they'll give you a case evaluation. That's Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back in 3.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of five-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com.
Let's go! Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here, brought by the great folks at Italiano Insurance. Get that insurance checkup right now. They will shop all your insurance around, hopefully find you a better price. Make sure that you are fully insured. Got to have that flood insurance as well. And if you have started a side business or you have a business and don't have business insurance, shame on you. You're risking all your personal wealth. Make sure you get your business insurance as well. Give them a call, 813-877-7799, Italiano Insurance. All right, let's welcome in from the Pewter Report a man that's spent the entire week in Mobile. And it was snowing. Josh Queipo joining us here from Pewter Report. What's up, Josh? How are you?
Hey, JP, I'm doing well. I feel like I came in at the right time with Italiano Insurance Services and Cafe Paradiso. My mother's full-blooded Italian, third generation, so I feel like you brought me in at the exact right time.
So is Queipo Italian? It's an interesting name.
No. That's actually Spanish from my father's side, but I'm predominantly Italian because, like I said, my mother was full-blooded, so it felt good.
I have a Swedish name, from my dad's side, but I was raised by Roxana D'Amelia, my mother, so I'm in the same boat. I always identify with my Italian side, and by Italian is much more interesting than Swedish. And no offense, Victor Hedman, but Italians are so much more fun than the Swedes. It is what it is, right? And the food is so much better, better.
Yeah, on my father's side, it was basically a mutt. I mean, there's so many different things. So a lot more connection to my mom's side with it being kind of pure line there.
Well, good to know. All right, so you're back from Mobile. You got to watch all the Senior Bowl stuff. And I said this before in the beginning of the show. I love all your breakdowns on tape. It's great stuff. You have a tremendous knowledge of the game. So I can't wait for your thoughts on some of the edge rushers that you saw, because it's so much more beneficial to see that stuff with your own eyes. I watched the videos, but I trust your eyes. What did you see among some of those edge rushers?
Yeah, there were, I would say, 3 that really stood out above the rest in terms of like what I was able to see. And I focused on edge day one. And the 3 that really popped for me, 2 that kind of solidified what I already thought about them from watching tape, and then 1 who really surprised me. The 2 that solidified, I think the one that's going absolutely viral right now is Mike Green out of Marshall. He has had kind of a skyrocketing ascension as the college football season closed, when people started to look at his production and just such a deep bag of tricks. He's got a near chop. He's got that wicked spin move that I think everybody's seen at this point. A lot of juice off the snap, a great burst and bend. And there were a few red flags coming in, and not so much issues with him, so much as just questions. Number 1 was the size. And he answered half of those questions when he weighed in at the Senior Bowl at 251 pounds. That'll play.
Wow. Okay. And he's 6'3", right?
What's that?
He's 6'3"?
Yeah, 6'2", 6'3", I think. I don't have it right. Actually, I do have it right in front of me. Give me 1 second here. So
kind 6'3", of a Von Miller-ish.
Yeah. Shorter arms, which was the other question, and you're not going to grow bigger arms. I joke about that with the current Buccaneer, Luke Gedeke. I remember asking him when he made the switch to right tackle a couple of years ago, back to his natural position. I was like, hey, the arm length can be an issue. And he goes, they're the only arms I got. I'm not getting them. Right. Like, I just got to figure out how to use them. And Gedeke certainly did it at tackle. And I think Mike Green has shown with all of his different pass rush moves and his arsenal that he's got the ability to work around shorter arms. And a lot of it comes down to he's just a very good hand fighter. He can swipe away, tackle his arms, not let them get into his chest. So that was the big thing. And then the other thing, coming from Marshall, he didn't have many opportunities to play against high-end talent. He showed up well against Ohio State, but now at the Senior Bowl, everybody there is probably draftable. And many of the guys are going to go on day 2. And he was still the star of the show. So for him, he really kind of solidified what everybody thought about him. And I think he's definitely a first round guy at this point. He may have done so much for his draft stock. He's one of those guys, day 1, day 2. All right, I did everything I need to, and he drops out. And that's what those guys do. And he may not even be there when the Bucs pick at 19. So I think he's definitely made a case for himself as edge 2 behind Abdul Carter from Penn State, as potentially the second guy off the board from that position group. The other one coming in that I was excited about, I would say almost like a Mike Green light. He's in the mold of Mike Green. He's in the mold of like a James Pierce from Tennessee. A little bit on the lighter side, but got the bend and got the deep bag of tricks, is Donovan Ezeraku from Boston College. And he displayed all of those different tricks that he's got, very much like Green. He's got the spin move. He's got the chop. He's got a rip. And one that I didn't even see on his tape coming in, but he executed it so well on, I want to say day 1, was just a really great club move where normally you pair a club move with like a rip to finish.
Right.
He did it so hard. He knocked the tackle off his spot and just said, okay, I've got my clear path to the quarterback. I don't need a second add-on.
I don't need a second move. Yeah, I think I remember him doing that to a Florida State offensive tackle like 3 times in that game. He had a huge game. Yeah. Impressive.
He's very impressive. And I got to talk to him a little bit during the interview sessions on Wednesday. And to hear him talk, he's very intelligent, and especially when it comes to his craft. I asked him a couple different questions. Number one was about how has he been able to develop such a deep arsenal of pass rush moves that he can go to at any time, and he seems comfortable and fluid with all of them. And he said he's just really a student of the game. If he sees somebody else pull out a trick that he really, really likes, he's going to watch it 4, 5, 6 times, step by step, slow it down, see exactly how it's executed by somebody doing it at a high level. And then for him, it's about, okay, now I need to try it 4, 5, 6 times really slowly, just figuring out the motions of each. And then by the 8th to 10th time, he's ready to throw it in a real live setting. And 4 or 5 more times after that, he's got it down. And that shows his ability to A, continue to expand his craft, B, to study the best and to have a really good process for how to do it. And then the execution was really high. I also asked him a little bit about dropping. We all know here covering that dropping is important to a Todd Bowles defense. And honestly, it's important to NFL defenses. I know Bowles gets a lot of flack for how much he drops his edge rushers, but it's something it's all around the league. Maybe people don't do it quite as much as Todd Bowles, but almost any defense is going to require it of their edge rushers, with sim pressures being so prevalent in the NFL. And Ezeraku didn't really do that much. This past year was his highest year for coverage reps, 35 only. So I said, how comfortable do you feel about that? And he goes, well, I know that it's something that's going to be asked of me. So back at Boston College, I've been working with corners. I've been working with linebackers. How do they drop? What's the footwork look like? He goes, I'm comfortable. I'm ready to do it. If it's asked of me, I'm going to do it at a high level. So just that preparation, his intelligence, his understanding of not just what he's done, but what's going to be asked of him, which is so big in the college prospect evaluation. A lot of times you'll hear prospect evaluators talk about what a guy can't do, and it's simply because they haven't seen it because he was never asked to do it before.
Right.
So hearing Ezeraku understand that that's going to be asked of him and he's prepared to meet that call, I couldn't be more impressed with the young man.
How big is he?
Oh, go ahead.
How big is he, Ezeraku?
Ezeraku is, give me 1 second here.
The reason I ask is because
You're asking hard questions again.
I know, right?
The reason I ask is because I was listening to you guys on your podcast talking about, the size, and And doesn't Bowles really put a high value on edge rushers also being able to play the run?
Yes, and that was the big question with Ezraku. Now he's 6'2" and a quarter, 248 pounds, so he is on the smaller size for an edge.
Right.
And that was one of the biggest questions that myself and Scott Reynolds had going in. And he had some really good reps in both team drills and then just even in those run defense drills where he was setting a harder edge than his tape shows. Now, there's always that balance. He showed it in an all-star format where he knows that that's where people are looking for it. He's more conscious of it. You go back to the tape and you say, in a natural environment where he's not thinking about how do I impress specific people in specific areas, how well can he do that? And I think that's what may hold him back from necessarily being a first rounder, may keep him as a day two guy, because not just Todd Bowles, almost every defensive coordinator, unless you are absolutely elite as a pass rusher or you have the frame where you can develop that run defense, they want guys who that's the base level. That's the entry fee. Can you play on first and second down?
Right.
Or you're going to be
you gotta earn the right to rush the passer. Right.
You
I
got
love that. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Who's the third guy?
Third guy, I'm going to have trouble pronouncing his name. Oluwafemi Oladejo. Now, he's an edge rusher out of UCLA. And this past year, 2024, was his first year as an edge rusher. He had played middle linebacker for his entire career, spanning a couple years at Cal and then 2023 at UCLA, and even the first few games of 2024. The reason why UCLA kept him as a middle linebacker is, if you'll remember, last year they had 3 edge rushers, including one in the first round, who all got drafted. So UCLA, for them, they would put a premium on how do we get the best 11 guys on the field. And for Oladejo, that meant he became a middle linebacker. This year, they switched him to edge, and he had a pretty impressive year considering how raw he was for the position. Pro Football Focus had him with 33 pressures and 7 sacks on just 329 pass rush reps. And he was somebody who just jumped when we were watching him at Senior Bowl. If you are a fan of Yaya Diaby's game, you're going to like Oladejo. He's bigger. He's over 260 pounds. He checks the box in terms of walking off the bus. As soon as he walked the field, everybody clocked him. He's built through the hips in terms of just, it looks like he has a rock hard core and then just broad shoulders, just big through the chest. And then when he got into those one-on-ones, he used length, he used leverage, he used speed to power, and he was just running over guys. And he actually flashed some bend. Now he's a bit of a more raw prospect, but that didn't stop him from impressing some people with like a fake inside spin and then wins on the high side. So there's some projection with him, but I think he's somebody who's going to be able to play the run well. He obviously has comfort in dropping from his time as a middle linebacker. He spent 3 years as an off-ball linebacker. He can win the high side with some juice. He's got that power. He can set a hard edge. That to me sounds like a Todd Bowles edge.
Yeah, no, it does. And they like those raw guys too that they can mold a little bit. Although, you know, it's just so funny. You talk about all these different pass rush moves, and you're like, "Yo, JTS, have you ever like gotten anything other than just nothing?" There's no development in 5 years. Like you never saw. Oh, this year he's working on an inside move, or this year working on this, or this year he's like nothing, just nothing. But anyway,
you would see it some every once in a while with JTS. He'd flash, and full disclosure, I was a JTS guy for a very long time during his Bucs career. He just always seemed to be thinking about what he needs to do rather than instinctually and fluidly executing it. He just didn't have, he was never able to connect what he could do with doing it. And it's unfortunate because, like I said, I loved him. I loved the traits. I loved the tools. He just never put it all together.
Well, Josh, see, you're too analytical. You got to open your mind to some of the things that the J.P. Peterson takes into account when we evaluate these prospects. And I knew as soon as we drafted him, he was going to be a bust. And it was simple. You just went to his Instagram page and count them out of shirtless pictures. He had 28 shirtless pictures. And you cannot be a defensive lineman with that many shirtless pictures. It was a bust from day one. You got to know these pretty boys do not play on the edge. It's just not a thing.
I'm going to push back a little bit because I feel like if I were to look at Warren Sapp's Instagram, I'd see a ton of shirtless pictures for a very different perspective.
Well, the point is, if they're ripped and they're trying to look that way, it was never a problem with Warren's picture. Warren was going more for the Jabba the Hutt, look, right. I don't know what, but anyway.
Yeah, I got you. That makes sense.
All good. All right, so also corner is a need, side linebacker is a need. What did you see at the Senior Bowl as far as those two positions?
For corner, I think that this is going to be a very deep draft for corner. I think by the time I'm done with all my evaluations come draft time, it'll be one of the positions that has the highest frequency of players in my top 50 to top 100. Three guys that stood out to me: Trey Amos out of Ole Miss. He's just over 6 feet, 197 pounds. Uses the sideline really well, which if you're looking for a cover 3 corner who can also play man, that's somebody you want. He uses the leverage of the field. He understands spatial reasoning, stayed on guys' hip pockets. Really, really impressed with him. I think he could be a first rounder there. The one who impressed me the most was Quincy Riley out of Louisville. If the Bucs were to take him, it'd be a little bit of a break from their typical mold because he comes in at 5'10" and 3/8. And we know the Bucs typically like 6-foot corners.
They got big corners. Yeah.
I think Jason Light has been permanently scarred by Vernon Hargraves, and because of that, there's that measurement. But with Riley, he may break the mold, and the reason for that is the ball production, which I think everybody in Tampa Bay, the Bucs organization included, is looking for corners, just defenders in general, with better ball production than they've had over the last few years. And with Riley, 8 interceptions over 3 years. 27 passes defensed. He led the ACC out of Louisville with 13 passes defensed in 2024. And he was just a nuisance to any receiver. You see him on everybody's hip pocket. He's in phase. He's getting his arms into throwing windows. Really, really impressed. I want to be careful when I make this comparison, but very similar in terms of how he impressed to the rookie corner with the Eagles this year, and his name is now escaping me, Quinyon Mitchell.
Mitchell, got a pick.
Quinyon Mitchell had a great Senior Bowl last year, vaulted up boards. The Eagles smartly took him, and he's had a fantastic rookie season. I think a similar ascension is coming for Quincy Riley. He's somebody I really, really enjoyed watching this week, and then got into his tape a little bit afterwards, and I've really enjoyed his tape overall. So there's ball production there. And then if they just want somebody who's prototypical size, not a lot of experience, more of a projection, very Zion McCollum-esque, Darian Porter out of Iowa State. 6'2" 3/4, I want to say, 197 pounds, played a ton of man coverage and quarters at Iowa State. He was using his length and his long arms all throughout the Senior Bowl practices. Very, very impressive there. Again, raw. And the thing with him, he's raw at 25 years old, and he really only got to start this year. So I think he's still going to be like an early day 3 guy, early to mid day 3 guy. I don't think he's jumped up into that day 2 range because of his age, but he's somebody later in the rounds that I think the Bucs might take a flyer on, very similar to McCollum. And they've done a very good job of developing Zion McCollum from a big, toolsy, raw guy into a starter. Porter could be somebody that they take later in the draft and they put him on a McCollum type tract, if you will, where he's got depth and he's got the physical tools that if pressed because of injuries, which ravaged the Bucs secondary this year, at least you've got somebody who's got the physical ability to be on the field from a tools perspective.
Yeah. All right. So last one, inside linebacker. Obviously, Servassier Dennis. We saw some flashes from him early in the season. What we love, the Bucs love everything they've seen about him. His durability. He's had a hard time staying on the field, so he's in the mix. We don't know what Levante's doing yet, but my gut is he's going to come back because he played at such a high level. And I think he knows that this team has a great chance to go far in the playoffs and wants to be part of it. So I think that's a plus, but I still think it's a big need. What are your thoughts on some of these guys?
Overall, it's a weaker linebacker class. Although I came away from Senior Bowl pleasantly surprised with some of the guys that I saw there. I don't think there's a ton of high-end talent. I personally don't think there's really a first-round linebacker in this draft. But some day two guys who really interested me. I fell in love with Jeffrey Bossa out of Oregon. It wasn't a perfect week for him. There were some reps where he one-on-ones with running backs and linebackers where he got, juked out of his shoes, fell down. Those reps are designed for the running back to win. Right. But you put him in team drills and he looked a lot better. And the big thing with Bossa is he has in spades the skill set that the Bucs severely lacked after Savasier Dennis went down in that linebacker room, which is just athleticism for days. Yeah. He's a safety convert. He hit over 20 miles an hour per zebra tracking during the course of the week. He can drop it, he can run the pole and cover two. He can cover the seams in the middle of the field, which
the middle of the field. Oh my God. The great wide open.
Yeah. So, and then I think what the team probably liked during their interviews, and if they do more interviews with him, they'll continue to really like it, is he's just a very high IQ player. He had a fantastic rep on day one during the team drills where there was a crossing route developing behind him. He doesn't see it, but he feels it. And he breaks with it, and it's a receiver. We're not talking about a tight end. We're not talking about a running back. It is a receiver running this cross to the far sideline and then pushing vertically up the sideline. He feels it. He gets on it. He stays on the guy's hip. There's no throwing window, and the ball ends up hitting him in the head. Okay, so he gets the pass breakup. It wasn't a perfect rep because you would love for him to get his head around and maybe make a play on the ball, but there was no catch.
That'll do.
No big play, right? Yeah. So I asked him about it after practice. I got a chance. I said, hey, there was a rep. And he's like, I know which rep you're talking about. And then he breaks the entire play down from the coverage call to exactly what he saw from the offense, what that keyed him into in terms of what he was looking for. He's like, I was looking for play action. I see the play action. I have a feel for that crosser developing behind me from that tight split. So I just start finding it. And it reminded me a lot of that clip from when the Bucs do their In the Current series, and they did it on the draft, and they showed Tyke Smith talking with the team during his
Right, I remember that. Yes, yeah.
It had me just absolutely remembering that. There was a lot of relationship there. He talked a bunch. I asked him about some of the poor reps that he had in the one-on-ones on day two. He didn't shy away from it. He didn't try and make excuses. He's like, there were a few I would have liked to have gotten back, but I tried to learn from each of them, wash it away, and then make sure the next rep was better. And he finished that particular drill, that very last rep, with a pass breakup. So he applied what he was telling me. So I came away very impressed with him. A few other guys who I really liked. There were two linebackers out of Auburn, Gene Asante, who has some Bucs ties, some really cool Bucs ties. I got to talk to him a little bit about, what would it mean to play with Levante David? He's like, well, my brother used to play for the Bucs, and before he played for the Bucs, he played for Nebraska. The year before Levante got there. So his brother left Nebraska in 2009. Levante got there in 2010. His brother wore number 4. Levante wore number 4 at Nebraska. So it's just a really cool kind of tie in there. He said it would be to be able to play with Levante and kind of bring all of that full circle. Him and his teammate McLeod, they brought the energy, and it was really Gene Asante. He was that vocal leader on the defense for, I want to say it was the American team. He was hyping everybody up. He was bringing the energy, the enthusiasm.
We need that
at that high level. So Asante definitely showed out for me. Jack Kaiser from Notre Dame showed up well, although he's a 25-year-old linebacker who weighs 226. So I don't know how much the Bucs will be in on him, but he had a lot of really great plays. He had a great interception. So I came away knocking a lot of these linebackers a little bit further up my board than I had them going in. But I still don't think there's that high-end first-round guy. And to be honest, just in terms of theory, I don't like taking inside linebackers in the first round because all projects. They all take a few years to figure out the coverage schemes and how to be a good coverage backer. And even then it's a dart throw. So you can find a ton of value later in the draft. Look for somebody who's athletic. And there are a few of those like Bassa, like Chris Paul Jr. out of Ole Miss. You can find those guys later in the draft and bring them along.
Great stuff, Josh Queipo. Before we get out of here, I would like to get some overall thoughts on some schemes for the Buccaneers and specifically their defense. We talked about, and I know Scott wrote a great piece in SR Fab 5 about how much the outside edge rushers drop, which is too much, in my opinion. And just the scheme in general, a lot of soft coverage, lack of turnovers, interceptions, 7 interceptions, and just basically defensive back. I mean, I've never seen teams just run so wide open against the defensive secondary. The last 2 years, constant communication breakdowns. Is the scheme too complicated? I've heard some people talk about that. When I'm not in the room, so I don't know what the calls are, but I've heard people in this scheme and talk about the bowl scheme say that it's too complicated at times. What is just your overall feeling? Does he need to shift, adjust, and do some different things?
I think in general, yes. I think the scheme being complicated was exasperated this year because when you get to guys you're pulling off the street or third and fourth string guys, and you're asking them to implement a difficult scheme, like when it's your starters, that's fine. But if you look at the injury rates for cornerbacks and safeties across the NFL, not just with the Bucs, I see Bucs fans all the time, like, we can't keep a healthy corner. That's actually a lot of teams. So you have to be prepared going into the season for what happens when we start losing starters, because it's almost always going to happen, right?
Right.
When that happens, are we asking too much of the guys who are coming in and filling in for their shoes? Right. And this past year, where they were devastated by injuries, they were asking a ton of guys who aren't ready to execute that. And that's where I think you got a lot of the communication issues that Todd Bowles himself was speaking about week to week, right?
Right.
So that's part of it. The other thing is when you are such a blitz heavy team, and the Bucs are consistently top 3 in the NFL in blitz rates, you are asking a lot of your linebacker group. You are asking a lot of your back 7. So you better have athletes who can execute and be responsible for larger amounts of space. And that's where I think from a roster building standpoint, there's a huge opportunity to improve, because without Sarvassier Dennis, even with Levante David, who is a brilliant linebacker who still played exceptionally well for his age, he's not the guy, he's not the mover he used to be. He is not considered an above average athlete at the position at this point in his career. He makes up for some of that with his IQ and knowing where to get to and getting there quicker than other people just by breaking quicker, but he's not that athlete anymore. So for them to continue the current scheme that they have, they're going to have to get more athletic at the linebacker position. They're going to have to get more athletic at the depth at the safety position. And some of that will be, Antoine being healthier next year. I don't think that he's going to be as injured as he was this year, but those are important for them to keep the scheme that they have. And then just in terms of bringing in players, Detroit brought in, a bunch of corners this year as they were going through a lot of injuries, and they were able to execute at a high level because they didn't ask too much of them. It was a lot of just play man, just follow that guy as best as you can. Todd Bowles, it's a lot different. Right. I do want to give Bowles a lot of credit, and I think this is where fans really lose sight. Bowles has adapted a lot over the course of his time in Tampa Bay. He does have his core tenets, but if you look at the different rates of things that he does, he has adjusted a bunch over the years. Yes, he's still going to be a cover 3 heavy guy, but he went from cover 3, cover 2 to cover 3 in quarters. And quarters is a huge part of what the NFL does. He's been doing sim pressures more, which is the en vogue thing that Mike McDonald made famous in Baltimore and brought to Seattle, and everybody else is doing sims. He's done a bunch more sims. This past season, I applaud him because as blitz heavy as he was, he went even heavier into the blitz in the back half of the season when they had a lot more success. And people would say, well, that's not him adapting. It kind of is, because if you ask, the only thing that team did well last year, it was blitz. So
should have blitzed more, in my opinion. And he should have blitzed 6 guys instead of just 5.
Now that's a very
pressure. So the 6-man pressures were the best. I don't try to chart it like you do, but when I look at the all 22, I mark down, 5-man pressure, nothing. 4-man pressure, never. 6-man pressure, nice. Incomplete pass, EBU.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point in that he is a little bit predictable in terms of how many guys he brings. He brings 5 at the highest rate in the league. And so to your point, running those 6-man pressures a little bit more often, absolutely. And I think he picked very good spots to run those 6-man pressures. That's part of the reason why they were so effective. But that is a way that he can vary himself going forward. So, but I for people who's like, it's the same old Todd Bowles, that's where I have a lot of.
He's gotten better. He's gotten more aggressive on 4th down, but I still don't think he's aggressive enough. And he has no clue how to use timeouts. I don't know who's in his ear. I don't know who's on the phones or I don't know. All I know is it doesn't work, and it was awful. It didn't factor into the game against Washington, but it could have. Have they got to stop, for God's sakes? Then at the end of the game. They should have had 1:40 left instead of 50 seconds, and that's a huge gaffe, in my opinion.
The timeout about is egregious. It's an area you hope he gets better in. But for those looking for some positive with Bowles, the culture is phenomenal. There are very few head coaches in the NFL that can hold the locker room together, keep their players playing for them as hard as he has. So the culture is there. He has gotten a lot better at the fourth down stuff. There's tracking to show that from 2022 to 2024, immensely better. Still room to grow, but immensely better. You hope that the timeouts get better. But I think the adaptability can still improve, but he's better than a lot of coaches in the NFL. So there's some credit to be given to him. Would that be better than what Liam Cohen could have been as a head coach? We're going to see what happens with him in Jacksonville. I had a high regard for Liam Cohen as a football mind and some of the things that he can do that most head coaches can't in terms of adaptability, which is the number one trait I look for in a head coach.
Yeah.
So we'll see that. That was very special from him. But I get very frustrated with fans who are like, there's nothing good about Todd Bowles. And I'm like, you're just not paying attention. You just don't want to admit it.
No, I think he definitely does some things good. I just think he's reached his ceiling.
That's very possible. Yep.
I don't think his game management is aggressive enough or even, rudimentary in the timeout department. And it's a philosophy to me. Defensive coaches just tend to lean on their defenses. And when your defense is that bad, that's a bad idea. So, it's tough to win games. That's why, to me, one of the biggest things I look for in a head coach is what is your record in 1-score games? What is your 1-score games? Because that's the difference often between making the playoffs and not making the playoffs, right? Is managing those 2-minute situations at the end of the half, at the end of the game. Brady was the best at it. That's why he has 7 Super Bowls. The second best is Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is 7 for 7 with a minute or less down or tied, and you need a drive.
Yep.
The league average is about 40%. He's 7 for 7. That's why they are. And the Bucs are terrible in those situations. Under Todd Bowles, they have been. It's a huge, huge problem. And so I think, and that's where, Todd's so good at different things. But if you can't be good at that, you have a ceiling. And I think that's where they're at. So I hope he can get it done. I mean, I really do. But I love the dude. But I think that's where his issues lie. Before I let you go, quick word on the OC. What you see there. I really, you're going to stay internal, and to me, that would be Thad Lewis or Grizzard. I don't know much about Grizzard. I think Thad Lewis may be ready to take that leap. Everybody seems to think very highly of him. He's got a great relationship with Baker Mayfield. If you're looking for continuity, nothing changes with him except the play caller. He doesn't have play calling experience, but he's getting OC looks other places. But who would you have as your front runner at this point?
I don't think Thad is one of the top choices, just from my read of the situation. I think Grizzard is definitely up there. And with Grizzard, you get a lot of pros. You talked about continuity. I think that can be overblown in terms of anybody following Liam Cohen. because of how adaptable and how varied Cohen was. If you were to ask what was Cohen's system last year, even the best tape watchers would be hard pressed to define it. He started the season with the mid zone, wide zone, outside zone run scheme. By the end of the season, they were a gap team because the line plays better with gap. The running backs all did better under gap. Yeah. So he morphed his system mid-season, which again goes back to such a special mind. He married the play action to the gap systems midway through the season. You talk about the McVay tree. Yes, he comes from McVay, but McVay has reinvented his offense 3 or 4 times. So depending on where somebody comes from McVay, they come from a different version of McVay. So with Grizzard, the pros for him is he had exposure to Cohen last year, and he had exposure to core McVay principles, and specifically like running 11 personnel. He had exposure to 21 personnel, which the Bucs were very successful in with Rashad White and Bucky Irving on the field together. It was one of the dynamic offensive personnel groupings in the NFL, bar none. So he has that. But he came from Miami, where he was most recently with Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel is a brilliant offensive mind. You can talk about Dolphins not being gritty enough to win hardcore games, but they can score points. And he had exposure to a different type of 21 personnel, 12 personnel, running from those condensed splits in a different way with the quick motion, the snap motion. So, and even before McDaniels, and this is where I think Grizzard really shines through. He was with the Dolphins through 3 head coaches and 6, 7 offensive coordinators implementing different systems. So while he's a young guy, he's got so much in his bag in terms of what he's learned from different places that he can pull from. As a Yale graduate, I definitely think that he is a smart guy. He would be able to create a unique system that pulls from all of these different minds and tries to create the best situation for the offense. So I think those are all really great things. The other one that I like is Shieldhouse, where I think that he's got a similar background. He's a smart guy. He's varied. He's an external, but JP, you've probably worked for organizations like this before. I know I certainly have. I've worked for organizations where they say, we're going to promote internally. Yeah. And usually starts with, we're going to promote internally because we have the best person for the job. But eventually it gets to the point where we promote internally because that's what we do. I don't care whether it's internal or external. Just get the best guy for the job.
Exactly.
Went external twice in the last 2 years. Both were successes.
That's right.
So need for internal, the need for that continuity, all else being equal, sure, use it as a tiebreaker. But if you have an internal candidate who doesn't stack up as well to an external candidate, don't bump him up your board just because he's in-house. Baker Mayfield has proven he can play under a new coordinator. And yes, you would love for continuity for Baker. He's never had it before, but he's also been very successful without it, as long as you pair him with a smart guy. Get him a smart guy.
Yeah, and he knows Josh, so that's good too. So there's continuity. And Shieldhouse, by the way, I just texted with Anthony Beck. His son Rocco was the quarterback when he called plays at Iowa State. Shieldhouse did a couple of years ago, and he said he's a riser, great communicator, and super smart. So Shieldhouse, I think, is a guy that's in the McVay tree. Obviously, working for him was play caller at Iowa State. So he comes recommended. He's definitely going to be an OC at some point. So could be now. Josh, thanks so much, man, for your time. I really appreciate it. I learned a ton today. That's why I just shut up and listened to you. Fantastic. Hope you'll come back on the show. Tell everybody how they can get your content.
Yeah, so best place to reach me is we're writing for Pewter Report. I've also been doing an off-season roster video series, kind of going over the decisions the Bucs have to make, the cap implications of it. So I've got 2 videos up on the Pewter Report YouTube channel that you can go check out, about 30 minutes of viewing total between the 2. And then I'll have a 3rd one coming out probably this Sunday or Monday, where we go over potential free agent options, potential trade options on that series. Like I said, writing for Pewter Report, I got a couple of articles up from the Senior Bowl. And then on Twitter or X, you can find me at Josh_Queipo. It's spelled Queipo, as you see on the screen there. So you can find me there and get some of my musings.
Great stuff, Josh. Thank you so much for your time. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, JP. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
There he goes.
So I saw you texting me, Tim, but I can't read my text if I'm using my phone. So you can produce on the air if you need to.
No, I was just telling you to try to switch back to Wi-Fi in the next break that I figure we're probably about to take here.
Okay.
See how that works.
This isn't working either.
It's better than what the Wi-Fi was before, but I just wanted to see if the Wi-Fi was better because you were frozen through most of that interview with Josh.
Oh. Sorry, folks. Hopefully the audio came through at least.
No, the audio is good. Yeah, the audio is fine. It was just the video.
All right. And my frozen face looked awful. I apologize. All right, we'll take a quick break and try to get this stuff straightened out. By next week, folks, we're going to have 2 gigs of Wi-Fi speed, so we be good.
And a new computer.
And a new computer. That's right. We will have a new computer as well. Cafe Paradiso is the place to be for Valentine's Day, guys. Get your reservations now if you want an unbelievable Italian dinner in a very romantic setting with Italian waiters walking around. You know,
yes.
Keep an eye on your chick. You know, especially with Paulo running around at the restaurant.
He's single too. Watch out.
Yeah, he'll slide right in there. Yeah. But Cafe Paradiso is the place to go if you want a great romantic Valentine's Day. They always have a great offering. So go to their website or go to Open Table, get that reservation at Cafe Paradiso. See you at back in 3. Stay with us.
Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Hey guys, why not kick off 2025 by popping the question? Yes, and you know where to get that perfect engagement ring. It's the Gold and Diamond Source. The best prices, the best quality, and yes, get her a real diamond. You don't want to go with the fake stuff. And January's birthstone is garnet for all you FSU fans, right? Get 15% off all the unforgettable garnet jewelry at the Gold and Diamond Source. Also, discover Emilique by Emily Johnson Weintraub, a sleek and modern jewelry line that makes everyday gifts extraordinary. And don't forget, you have any unused gold? Turn it into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. You can do it all at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Omerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man, Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
Welcome back to the JP Peterson Show. It's FanStream Sports. It is a Friday. I already have my voice, my weekend voice here because apparently I can't talk. But here we are on a Friday, JP.
We got Wi-Fi issues. We got frog in your throat. At least we had Josh Queipo on to give us some great info. That was great. That was fantastic.
Yeah,
we will definitely have him on the show.
Knowledge, man.
Yeah, he's really, really good. So we'll try to get him on more and more especially in the off season. He's so good at breaking down stuff, and I really trust his judgment. And he's spot on. We're very, very much in agreement on a lot of different things. We're brought to you by the great folks at Third Generation Plum. So if you have any issues with your plumbing or AC or anything around the house at all, they can do it. They do it all at Third Generation Plumbing, and they've been around since 1995, so they will get it right. So if you need a handyman, plumbing, AC, whatever, they will get it done for you. You have someone in the business, and if anything goes wrong, John Rodriguez, the owner, good friend, great dude, he will make it right. So it's a great peace of mind that you're going to get what you pay for with any of those issues around your house. So give them a call over there, Third Generation Plumbing. Just go to the website and call them or email them. Also, want to remind you about gloves and roses coming up on February 14th, Valentine's Day. We had them in yesterday. Phil Alessi is the promoter, and Drake Banks, the heavyweight, 7-0 from Homosassa, Florida. What a great story. If you missed that interview, it's the first part of yesterday's show.
Yep.
Right off, we had him in studio, and his dad was here, and the tears were flowing. This is a big moment for him in this big fight. He's the headliner, and the kid is big, man. He's country strong. I've seen some tape on him. He's won some international events as an amateur. He's got a shot. He's got a shot, especially with the heavyweight division right now where it's at. So we're going to follow him. Yeah, we're going to follow him and go to LessiePromotions.com. Is that the website? Yeah, Lessie Promotions Productions. LessieProductions.com, and get your tickets for Gloves and Roses. It's going to be really fun at the downtown Hilton. Get all dressed up like a Vegas fight. Bring your girl in. They're going to have all this cool music going on. So it's going to be a fun event. I'll be there with the lovely Ashley. So come on down and join us for a very unique Valentine's Day. Never thought I'd go to the fights on Valentine's Day, but Ashley's all about it. And I think it's a great idea. You got a lot of great youngsters, a lot of local kids. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it.
As long as she's okay with it, then I guess it's a win, right?
Well, it's what it's all about. And
by the way, it is LessiePromotions.com, not production. Sorry, my bad. I fixed it on the screen. It's LessiePromotions.com to get your tickets for the Gloves and Roses that JP is now talking about. Take your sweetheart out to a boxing match, a boxing event for Valentine's Day. They're going to dress it all up for you, make it look pretty.
It's a win-win.
You look good. It's a win-win for
everybody. A win-win, right? Come on. You get to go to a sporting event on Valentine's Day? Come on, dog. That's a great idea. All right, you want to get to some of the comments?
Yep.
Our friend B is back.
Yeah, B is back, and he's not being kind as usual, JP. It is what it is.
That's his MO. Don't show your face. Just come in here and don't take. You're not. You don't have a spine, a backbone to show your face or tell us who you are and back it up. You just come in here throwing crap around, but that's fine. We can handle people like you. That's not a problem at all. I find it comical, actually. Bring it, brother. Whatever you got. He was asking me, am I reporting that Stu was in negotiations to sell the team? Yes, I've been reporting.
Or is it your opinion?
I've been reporting that for quite some time. Yes, and guess who also is reporting it? Ken Rosenthal.
He's got some
the most highly decorated. Is he a Hall of Famer yet? Because I think he might be. The most highly decorated, best sourced guy in all of baseball, Ken Rosenthal. Have you heard of him? Yeah, he's reported too. So take that for what it's. But you know more, B. I'm sure you know more. I will say this though. B is probably the same guy that's attacking Chris Latvala on same guy hiding behind the keyboard, just throwing out there. But he's getting attention, I guess. So I guess he's creating a bit. Yeah, we can handle you, B. If you get disrespectful, we will throw you out for that. But yes, that's what I'm reporting, and I know that you know that that's what's going on. So there's that. All right, what else we got?
Let's see. I'm trying to blow through B's comments here because they're just ridiculous.
Don't worry about it. We're done with that.
James, JP, is your new studio in the same building as Jeeves Law Group? If so, tell him to send his IT guy or gal to the studio to get things worked out. So we have isolated the problem. We know what the problem is. We are in the process of fixing it. We're getting a new computer. That is part of the problem. The other part of the problem is that the Jeeves Law Group, unfortunately for us, don't require the same amount of Wi-Fi speed that we do to stream live out of the studio. So we are in the process, instead of piggybacking on theirs, of getting our own, which will be much, much, much faster. And we will be able to see the nose hairs coming out of JP's nostrils on a daily basis for you guys. It's going to be that crystal clear. So we're working on it.
Let's dial that down a little bit. Let's dial that down.
Let's see. Sergio. Good morning, Sergio. Baseball will not work in Orlando. It's full of tourists, too diverse. If we can get butts and seats in St. Pete, Orlando would be worse. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. It is a very transient community. The traffic is ridiculous. Where they're talking about building it would be a freaking nightmare from a traffic standpoint. And there's absolutely no data whatsoever that these 70 million tourists that come for the theme parks go to Magic games or Orlando City games or any of that stuff. I mean, there's some crossover, but for you're talking about 81 games, they don't support the Magic. They don't support Orlando City to that level. What makes you think they're going to fill a stadium with 8 home games? No, they have no money. They have no proven fan base. Great theme park city, but that's about it.
Yeah. Mark clears some things up for us. Barry Larkin has lived in Orlando for several years and active in the community. That said, no one should take their MLB effort seriously. Okay, so he's moved there post-career. That's fine. I just couldn't find anything linking him there during his playing career. He didn't play minor league baseball anywhere in Florida. So, I mean, if he's there now and he's part of the community, that's great. He's attached his name onto something that's not going to work. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's getting paid handsomely to do it, and it's going nowhere.
Rick says, B is back, JP's fan club charter member.
I'm living rent-free in that head, that's for sure.
Nathan Elliott chiming in on Brian Engblom's name not being on the Stanley Cup in the 77 season with the Canadiens. He says, LaShawn McCoy won 2 Super Bowls and didn't play a snap in either game.
Got that ring.
They don't engrave his name on the on the Tom Brady trophy.
The Tom Brady trophy.
Is interested in renaming it.
Is that going to happen?
Joke, right? No, it was just a joke. Rick says, please draft that linebacker and defensive end for no other reason than to hear Gene butcher those names on Sunday. Fire the cannons. That's just mean.
That is mean. What are some of those things? Yeah,
I don't know. You like Josh even had problems with him, so I don't know.
That's a Rocky horse collared at the 15. The cannons. Yeah, that would be fun.
Rick says JTS learned from the Zoolander school of moves. He's got the blue steel down right, I bet, doesn't he?
That's it. It's not working though. It's not working.
No. James says, thanks for bringing Josh Queipo on the show. I follow him, and his cap breakdown is incredible. Nothing against Maddie, but hopefully you'll have Josh on the show more often. Well, why can't we do both? We can have Matt on sometimes, and we can have Josh on other times.
Absolutely.
And continue to have Scott Reynolds on other times.
We love the Pewter Report. Yes.
Yeah. Let's get it all covered for you there. John Hill, good morning to you. Go Iowa State. How about
know what? I was having a FSU group text. We were talking about our program and where it's coming. We got to get to that story too, and where it is. And the leadership at Florida State from the presidents on down in the last 15, 20 years has been horrible. Just absolutely. The things that they have been, focusing on have not been conducive to running a premium athletic department. And I think some of the leadership we have now is better. Mike Alford. But it's just been a lot of, focusing on the wrong thing, in my opinion. Right. And we need to get back to, if you're going to be serious about being a top athletic program, then make it a priority. And that has not been done, in my opinion, in the past 20 years from the top down. And we're seeing the residue of that. So, it's important to, the leadership, you got to get it right.
Let's see. What was my next? I was going here with Sergio again. Bucs won't be able to get an impact edge rusher or corner at 19 unless they trade up. They might have to seek on in free agency in the draft one as well. I disagree, Sergio. I think you will have an incredible opportunity at 19 to get a really, really good edge rusher. I think there's going to be, I'll give you a name that I think might be available there, and we just saw him destroy the University of Texas and Notre Dame in the playoffs, and that's Jack Sawyer at Ohio State. If you like his game,
interesting.
I think he'll be available at 19 for you if that's the direction you want to go. Landon Jackson from Arkansas is another guy I like there. He'll be there. Georgia's Michael Williams, I think, will be available at 19. So Marshall's Mike
Campbell, like the kid from Alabama. Yeah.
Yep. Nick Scorton from A&M. He's been closely tied to the Bucs in the draft. I think there's going to be a ton of guys at 19. You will have your pick if that's what you want to do.
I thought that maybe you'd have to trade up to get an elite guy. But I don't think you go chase Abdul Carter and give away 2 first-round picks. Mm-mm. I think one of those other guys, if you stay at 19, I think you can get them and find the one. Tristan Wirfs was the 5th tackle in the draft. You got the right one, and they moved up to one spot to get him. So find the guy that you like, and chasing Abdul Carter with huge draft capital, I think is a bad idea. Because you feel a lot, you got to find that corner. You got to find an inside linebacker. Should always draft an offensive lineman, for depth. So this team got some holes.
And here's the issue. I'm seeing a lot of mock drafts coming out. And again, these are mock drafts, but usually they have legs at some point. Abdul Carter might go to Tennessee number 1 overall. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that there. That's drawn some attention where they may not go quarterback and they may take him first overall. And if that's the case, you have no chance of moving up to get somebody like him at number 1. So, and it's a lot to give up for a guy who could be the next coming of Michael Parsons, but maybe not. You just don't know. It's a big risk.
Yeah, so, you don't know that for sure.
We got Tito here. You want to take a break and come back?
Yeah, I'll take a break and I'll get into this FSU ACC ESPN deal where that's at. Also get his take on that going on with college football in terms of realignment, and we'll do some Super Bowl props too. Maybe we'll get into some of that. Lots more coming your way here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source. Folks, if you're looking to pop the question, or guys looking to get a baller watch or one of those great necklace or something, you want something with your kid's name on it, I got one of those as well. The Gold and Diamond Source is where you go for all that stuff. They've got 5 years interest-free financing, which makes your dollar go a little bit further. And, of course, they've got the best prices. And when you buy something, especially a diamond with cut and clarity and color, you get what you pay. You don't know that at other places. The Gold and Diamond Source, you can trust them. They've been around for 40 years. 3800 Alberton Road, always online at thegoldanddiamondsource.com. Back in 3.
Old Hurricane Helene put a hurting on Tampa Bay, and for many of you, the rebuild will be a long process. You must beware of unscrupulous contractors offering up quick fixes for incredible prices. It's a scam. So go with long-standing reputable companies like Third Generation Plumbing and AC. My friend John Rodriguez has been serving Tampa Bay since 1995 with hundreds of 5-star reviews. If you need a new AC system or any home repairs from Helene, they will work with insurance companies to get you taken care of quickly, expertly installed, of course, and a 1-year maintenance plan and 10-year warranty included on all AC units. 0% financing for 60 months. Contact them at thirdgenerationplumbing.com or 813-961-8024. That's 813-961-8024, thirdgenerationplumbing.com. So many of our Tampa Bay neighbors are finding out the hard way from Hurricane Helene that homeowners insurance does not cover flood damage. You must have flood insurance. It's a separate policy. Immediately call Italiano Insurance at 813-877-7799, and they will shop around to find the best policy before rates go up. Lock it in. Over 60% are underinsured in Florida, or you're not getting your discounts that you're entitled to. So do an insurance checkup at Italiano, and they could save you thousands of dollars. Italiano will make sure you're with a highly rated insurer, so there are no surprises in your time of need. Our hearts go out to all our neighbors devastated by Helene. These are the times we're proud to protect all the pieces of your life. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite. I love it. So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go. Right now. Back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Football Friday. Big Pro Bowl football game coming up this weekend. Yeah, get the flags out. Baker will be throwing to Mike Evans, though, with the flags on. So that I'm going to throw that fade every chance I get. If I flag football with Mike Evans, hell to the yes.
What happens if Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans both blow their knees out during the Pro Bowl games?
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
Just saying, the possibility is there. I don't like them there. They shouldn't be there.
That is bad juju. And now if it happens, blame us. God damn you.
I don't have that much power, trust me. I wish I did.
We're brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo is your concierge medical doctor. I had an issue just this week. Texted him up. It did not have to do with an in-house visit for a copay. We just talked and we figured it out. He wrote me a script. I went and picked it up. Bada bing, bada boom. That's what you pay for with concierge medical service. You don't have to wait 6 months for a freaking appointment or any of that shenanigans. Have somebody who is your advocate who can take care of these type things without having to go to the doctor. We're busy people. We don't need all that nonsense. But more than anything, he will give you a personal nutrition plan, workout plan, sleep plan, immune system plan, all that specialized to you because all our bodies work differently, folks. Personalized medicine is the wave of the future. And you can only do that if you have a dedicated doctor looking at you and not worried about the 15-minute time limit that the insurance puts on them. So go to Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com is the website, and schedule a consultation. It's cheaper than you think. All right, we got Tito ready to go?
Tito, do you have us, sir?
Yes, I do. Can I weigh in on the Pro Bowl thing?
Yeah.
You sure can. You sure can.
We've evolved as a society, as sports fans. We've evolved. Let's get rid of all these damn all-star games. Look, the Pro Bowl used to mean something when guys were making $70,000 a year and the winning team each got $10,000 a player, whatever it was. It used to mean something.
And a trip to Hawaii.
Trip to Hawaii also. None of this stuff matters. If I'm an owner, I don't want my guys playing in any of this stuff.
No.
None of them.
Now they get a trip to Orlando. They get to go to Orlando.
Right.
I mean,
but like, yeah,
talk about an honor.
I know Tim was joking, but if Mayfield or Evans happened to Robert Edwards, remember the beach football game, and his career was over after that with the Patriots after his rookie season. And the other way, I always take it too far. Shocker. And people get pissed off when I say this, but if I was an NBA owner, I would try my best to keep my players out of the Olympics. I think it's look at Joel Embiid. He could play in the Olympics, but now he's hurt all the time. You know, I don't think it's necessary. And I think most of the time the guys don't do it because of, the love of the country. I think most of the times because the endorsements and they want to have the ability to improve their brand. And so I would have it written in contracts. I would say I'll give you $10 million more to not play in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. You don't think they're doing it for their country? The pride?
I think the Euros do.
Everybody else does. But yeah. Well, hopefully, being patriotic is going to be cool again. So
I know. But I don't think they have to do it for the love of the country. I think they have to do it more so for the love of their brand.
I agree. 100%. No, and you're right. It did used to mean something more because it was money and it was building your brand. And when, in a big television setting, guys don't need that anymore. They got social media. They don't need TV.
Right.
Yeah, but I will say this, having, played flag football for a large period of my life, I like watching the NFL guys play flag football because I have something to relate it to. And even though they're not going hard, I think it's better than that sham of them putting on pads and acting like they're hitting each other. So, and the skills competition, I think they've done about as much as they can for the Pro Bowl right now. I think their place should be a place where they should gather and do that. I would say Orlando is probably not the place, though. I mean, they just do this in Vegas. Doesn't everybody want to go to Vegas? All the football players, right?
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it in Vegas. Get some showgirls out there.
Let's do it at Jerry World.
Do they want to go to Dallas either?
I don't know. Does anybody ever want to come to Dallas?
I've been trying to get to Dallas for years. You guys won't fly me out there, Tim. I don't want to hear it. What's that?
Hey,
Coach, I was trying to book a ticket to Tampa, and it was $2,000 for a first-class ticket that was going to take like 2.5 hours. And I'm like,
why would you do that? No, you don't need to do that.
I've never flown first class before.
You've never flown first class before?
No.
I was doing a video for a company last year, and they flew me first class out to Vegas, and I almost felt embarrassed about it. But it was great. It was fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, it's so much better than flying coach. Oh my God. That's
the John Gerber life.
Yeah. Well, once you've done that it's when you go back to coach, you're like, oh God, this is awful. This is terrible.
I know Southwest doesn't
Once you get a taste of that, oh my God. It's and by the way, if you ever go on a cruise, every cruise, Carnival or MSC, like MSC has their yacht club. It's like the one step up with like your own restaurant, your own bar, which is key, and your own pool area. And it's like, once you do that, you never want to go back to the GP like ever again. It's like, no, I can't. Like you're sitting at the pool and they're waiting on you, it's so fantastic. I don't like being an elitist, man. Sometimes it's really fun. It's really fun. It's the only way to go. All right.
Weirdos.
I wanted to start a little bit with since you're Mr. College Football, Ohio State. Congratulations to your Buckeyes, by the way, well earned. Yesterday it comes out that there's a set pending between FSU and Clemson in the ACC, and it hits at the same time that ESPN announces that they're renewing the ACC football agreement. So basically, what it looks like is there's going to be a settlement, as our man Scott Jeeves told us there always would be in this case. And FSU is getting exactly what they wanted when they went to the ACC 3-4 years ago, which is a bigger share of the pie, which they deserve. So now they finally forced the ACC to recognize exactly what the economics are, and there's going to be more money in the ESPN deal. Everybody's happy. We could have done without paying lawyers. Sorry, Scott. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions and millions of dollars, because it was always what should have been done. But to me, if this is going to keep FSU in the ACC, I don't think anybody in Florida State fans are happy about that, and Clemson as well. So status quo as the league goes, but I don't. And they're going to get more money. I guess it's a win for Florida State because that's what they wanted in the beginning anyway. What are your thoughts?
Well, I've railed about this often, like I'll compare it to the Big Ten then, where I don't think that if I'm the Big Ten, I wish we could kick out these teams that just make the money off of Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, now Oregon, and schools like that. I mean, you can't convince me that Purdue should get the same amount of money that Ohio State gets for football. They've been sucking at the teat of the Big Ten powerhouses for so long. Purdue, the football generating schools are the ones that are funding all these other ones. And Illinois doesn't do crap. Northwestern, Rutgers, Maryland, like those schools should not be getting an equal share. I would cut them out of the conference. I know you can't do it because academics. Shut up. We're done with all of this stuff with having like academically accredited universities. Just give me a damn good football conference and let the best teams get the most money because they earn the most money.
It's pretty simple to me. But I would say this: if you're going to like overhaul it, then overhaul it. Okay. And then you put, I put my model out, but and have a level playing field and, have it and basically an NFL model. You're not going to have a draft, but you can do everything else kind of similar to it. And it should be a level playing field. I think, it never has been though. Alabama, Ohio State, Clemson, the programs. It's never been a level playing field. Money was being paid under the table or now over the table. It's never been a level playing field. If you could return that, in some ways, that would be great. But I don't know if we can ever get back to this. But at least in the short term for FSU and Clemson, they're going to get a bigger piece of the pie, which is what they deserve and always wanted.
It's the way it should be. And do with the other sports too. Look, if you're a basketball power that brings in the most money, not the basketball programs are making huge profits anywhere, but if you're the basketball program in the conference that brings in the most money, you should get a lot bigger share of the pie than the teams at the bottom of the conference in basketball. It's just the way it should be.
Did I read that Ohio's athletic budget was like $37 million in the red this year?
Yeah. There was first the buyout for Chris Holtman, which I think that might have been around $9 million. The basketball coach, that was part of it. Also increased salaries. As far as this is all based on projections they had, and they more salaries, more bonuses were paid out and things like that. That was a bigger chunk of it. Also, some expenses that were higher than they thought. But it's going to be fine. It's not like people here aren't freaking out about it. But yes, they're
not going bankrupt.
No, they're not going back. They're going to be just fine. I think they'll be okay. But yeah, it's the $37 million in the red, but it'll turn around this year. That was that was for fiscal year, started in July 23.
They got a little in reserve.
23, yeah.
They got a little in the reserve. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're fine. I think Ohio State will be okay.
The $1 billion endowment is not in trouble. Okay, good. I think we're good.
Should be okay there. Yeah, should be okay there.
All right, so let's
defensive coordinator now, though.
Yeah, that's right. That was kind of interesting, huh? You got Penn State came in there and pilfered your DC.
Yeah, so Jim Knowles, who has been great here for Ohio State, he's had a wonderful 3-year run here, but he was getting paid about $2.2 million, and Ohio State gave an offer, I think, around 2.5, and Penn State offered him 3.1 to make the highest paid coordinator ever. He was also talking to Notre Dame and Oklahoma, took the Penn State thing. He's from Pennsylvania, state of Pennsylvania, so I get that part of it, but I think there's after the Ohio State-Oregon loss, the first Ohio State loss to Oregon, 32-31, Ryan Day was pissed and kind of said, look, we got to change things up here defensively. We had no pressure on Dylan Gabriel. We've got to make some changes. And I don't want to say it took the authority away from Knowles, but almost like say, hey, look, what you're doing is not working right now. You got to fix it. And I think that bothered Knowles. I think Knowles also clashed a little bit, butted heads with Larry Johnson, the longtime Ohio State defensive line coach. Part of that was also about how to apply pressure. I think Larry Johnson wanted to do one thing, Knowles wanted it another way. And so it just kind of ran its course. I don't think that I don't begrudge him for going. Hell, getting $3.1 million a year as a coordinator is a pretty good job. But yeah.
But we can't pay the players.
Right.
Can't pay the player. We don't have the money to pay the player, but now we're going to play DC's $3.1 million. That's more than NFL DCs make. That's crazy money.
Yep.
All right. So any early feelings on the Super Bowl from a betting standpoint?
I like the Chiefs laying the 1.5. I think they're going to win it. I know people probably hate to hear that because I think there is a little bit of a tired fan. But fans are tired of the Chiefs winning every year. But you know what? I like it. I like the fact that they find a way to do it. They're a much different team now. When they first started Mahomes, he's not throwing 50 touchdown passes a year anymore.
Great.
They don't have these superstar wide receivers put up huge numbers or running backs put up incredible numbers. Like it's all spread out around, and the defense has really been more of the story lately for Kansas City. So I think Kansas City wins again. I have a look at the prop bets. I look on DraftKings, and there's one that I really like was Hurts and Mahomes to each have at least 15 passing yards in each quarter. That sounds pretty good. Just 15 plus passing yards in each quarter, each guy. And that's at minus 110 on DraftKings.
Oh, wow.
That sounds like a given, especially the way Hurts threw the ball in the championship game.
Right. Now, every time I think it's a given, that's what scares me. But yeah, that was one of them. Each team to have at least one passing touchdown and one rushing touchdown, that's at plus 190.
Oh, I like that. I like that too. Yeah. Plus 190 is not great value, but that seems pretty
I
good.
can't believe everyone's going to score a passing and a rushing touchdown.
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think Mahomes? I don't think he's going to have. I don't know what his over under in passing yards is, but that Philly defense is stout. It's really, really good, especially it's good all over. I don't know what that number is, but I wouldn't think that, because there's always a public perception that Mahomes throws for 500 yards for every game, and
right.
that's not true. And I still think he's limited in receivers.
It's 252.5 last time I checked for the over under on his passing yards.
God, I hate going under. I have betting unders, but I would go under there.
And the reason a lot of people go overs on things like that is because the casual person who's going to bet on the Super Bowl, a lot of them just see the highlights. And every time you see a Chiefs highlights, you don't see Mahomes throwing for 190 yards. What you see is Mahomes throwing a 40-yard touchdown pass and then a 30-yard pass or whatever like that. Big plays is what you're going to see. And so that's how sometimes the public gets lulled into or tricked into betting overs on things. This coming from a guy who's usually dumb enough to bet overs all the time. Well,
you're just watching a game and you got to, you can win your over in the first quarter, and it's wonderful, right? But if you're betting the under, you got to stay to the very end and like root against big plays. It's a bad headspace for me. I wrote going with unders. It can be very good, but I stick with the overs. It's just
any kick to hit the uprights is plus 550.
Really?
Any kick to hit the uprights. A doink.
A doink is plus 550? Wow. Yeah. I could root for that. But it's indoors, so not likely.
It's indoors, but you might got to try a long field goal at the end of the half or something.
Well, I feel like it's more likely indoors than it is outdoors.
Do we have any Tay props?
I've seen a number of appearances number of times she's shown on the screen during the broadcast at 5.5.
Gross.
During the entire we're talking game broadcast?
The game broadcast from the game broadcast 5.5 times.
Fox is doing it?
Yeah, Fox is doing it.
Brady's.
Yeah, they're heavy pop culture, so I'm definitely going over on that.
If Kelsey scores a touchdown, there's one time right there.
Right.
They're going to show her then, right?
Well, there's one
before the game, and they'll do it at
halftime. The egregious arrival. I mean, the not egregious, but the inevitable arrival shot that's going to be on there
might be egregious.
It could be egregious. Is you going to wear some Chiefs stuff? The last time she just wore some, Chanel thing, and I'm like, where's the Chiefs stuff? What are we doing here?
I gotta believe she will this time. Yeah, I gotta believe she will.
You get a custom-made jacket or something.
I didn't see the odds, but I just saw the props were. One was, will Travis Kelce retire after the game on the stage? If they win, he gets up on the podium, will he retire? Will Kelce announce his retirement there? And the other one is, will Kelce propose to her?
Yes.
Yeah, the proposal ones.
You think you propose to her at the game?
I mean, if you're an NFL scriptwriter, that's the ultimate ending for the movie right there, right?
Yeah.
Confetti's falling.
What if heaven forbid the Eagles win, and is he still going to propose?
Oh my God, the Eagles win! Like, why would the scriptwriters do that? Come on, that's just silly. They get their three-peat, they get their Travis and Tay proposal. I mean,
split my
come
throat if the Eagles win.
If I'm Kelce, I either do a Joe Horn or a Terrell Owens, and I either put like the engagement ring in my sock, and when I score, look up at her and open it up, or do the Joe Horn cell phone thing, have it in the goalpost, down there in the in the cushion part, and pull it out and do it then after a touchdown. That would be the way to do it, I think.
Can you imagine? Oh my God, that would freaking break the internet. That would break the internet. And they see her, up in the box saying, yes, yes, yes. Oh my God.
I went to the store last night and forgot to get milk. As I walked out, my wife said, don't forget milk. So I forgot that last night, but somehow I just pulled the name Joe Horn out of my ass without even, didn't prep for that at all.
Pretty good.
That just goes to show you, one, why I'm on marriage number 2, and 2, why
what's important in life. Yeah, what's important? You have your priorities straight. Come on.
Right, yeah.
There's no room for milk in there.
Throw a Joe Horn question at you then, Tito.
I think with Aaron Brooks was doing the pass. That's another sick part. Go ahead.
Who is better? Or who is better? Joe Horn or J.C. Horn?
Look, I was a sucker for Joe Horn.
I'm a Saints fan. Sorry, Tampa Bay.
I'm a sucker for Joe Horn. I get fantasy help me out sometimes too. So Joe Horn's in my ring of honor for fantasy.
Have you ever seen that video on the sideline of J.C. Horn and I think it was Arthur Blank? Arthur Blank walked up to him and says, "Are you related to Joe?" And he was like, "That's my dad." And they had a cool little back and forth. It was pretty funny. Yeah. Like, you can't tell me that Arthur Blank didn't know that J.C. Horn was Joe Horn's kid. You would know that during the draft, right? Like, you would have figured that out.
You've got an owner down there in Dallas who doesn't understand that saying glory hole has a different meaning than when it did when he first heard it. Okay, so some of these owners aren't really that smart.
Oh, no, he knows. Trust
me. Did he go glory hole in that press conference the other day?
He did, yeah.
He goes glory hole all the time. We hear it here all the time.
And I guess I heard it was like an older reference. Like if you struck oil, that was a glory hole.
That's your glory hole. If you struck oil, you found the glory hole. Yeah.
I've never struck oil. So the glory hole reference has a completely different meaning for me.
Well, let's just say I'm familiar with both.
Yeah, right. It did involve a Derek, though.
How drunk are you now?
Pretty drunk.
Oh my God. Yeah, it doesn't mean the same thing, Jerry.
No,
but it's there's so many things going through my mind right now. I better not say any of them, but that's okay. All right.
We don't want to lose sponsors on this show. It's the only one we can get.
We really don't. We really don't. Although they expect that type of shenanigans. All right, Tito. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thanks, boys. Take care.
All right, we'll take one more break, and then we'll come back, finish up with all your great comments in the comment section, except for you, B. Go away. Back in 3 to wrap up this week on the JP Peterson Show. Stay with us.
JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves, who lives right here and has long been a highly respected member of our community. He's a proud sponsor of the Tampa Riverwalk. Jeeves Law Group is also a proud sponsor of our Grand Central District in St. Pete and has neighborhood events throughout the year. He has an office on Central Avenue in St. Pete and one on South Howard in Tampa. You can't get more local than that. So when you need an attorney, you're going to hire some huge firm that advertises all over the state or the one that supports your favorite sports show. It's the Jeeves Law Group. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. For personal injury and personal attention, call us for a free case evaluation. That's 8889-JEEVES. That's 8889-JEEVES. Hey, JP here for my personal concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. Yeah, he's been on the show for the last couple of years, but this is kind of a new deal, and only a limited amount of you can get involved with this personal concierge service. And what I love about it, you can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. And Chris emphasizes a healthy lifestyle to help prevent illness. But when I do need assistance, he's always available. From nutrition guidance to supplement recommendations and workout advice, his expertise is a game changer. Plus, as a medical provider for the National Guard, he stays up to date on the latest health trends and practices, steering clear of the outdated conventional medicine that often relies on unnecessary prescriptions. And the best part, Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself. Take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Hey guys, why not kick off 2025 by popping the question? Yes, and you know where to get that perfect engagement ring. It's the Gold and Diamond Source. The best prices, the best quality, and yes, get her a real diamond. You don't want to go with the fake stuff. And January's birthstone is garnet for all you FSU fans, right? Get 15% off all the unforgettable garnet jewelry at the Gold and Diamond Source. Also, discover Emilique by Emily Johnson Weintraub, a sleek and modern jewelry line that makes everyday gifts extraordinary. And don't forget, if you have any unused gold, turn it into cash or a stunning new piece. With gold prices soaring, there's no better time to trade up. You can do it all at the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Let's go! Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we wrap up this week. It's been a fun week. Had some great in-studio guests, which reminds me to tell you about Gloves and roses coming up on Valentine's Day. A great fight card here from Alessi Promotions. Go to alessipromotions.com. That's ALESSI, just like the bakery. They got a new bakery coming up, a new location right next door. Going to be tons of great stuff there. But the headliner is our good friend Drake Banks, who was in here yesterday. Drake is the headliner from Homosassa, Florida. Great young boxer. Is now 8-0 with 5 knockouts, 6'4", 250 pounds. Looking forward to that. So that's on Valentine's Day, guys. So go to LessiePromotions.com. Get your tickets. Take your lady. I will be there with the lovely Ashley. So looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. All right.
Once again, I'll be single this year, JP, for Valentine's Day. So
what? Wait, you got 2 weeks.
When you got so many, you can't just pick one, and they don't ever want to do group dates because that usually has expectations differently at the end of the night. So I just choose to not do it.
Who's that dude? Cody, the Sister Wives guy. What's his name? Cody.
I've never watched that. I don't know.
Ashley thinks that he and I were our doppelgangers from earlier.
Cody Brown.
Cody Brown, yeah. She thinks Cody Brown and I are doppelgangers.
I can see that. Kind of.
I was
going to say you'd have to grow your hair out.
Yeah, if I had some curly hair. She says if you look like a younger picture of me, like when we were both in our 40s, we're like dead ringers. She showed me like side by side, and I went, oh, God, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, here's a picture of what Cody Brown looks like now. So, yeah, if you just kind of take
a little bit, yeah.
I can see it. Huh.
Right.
Well, it's better than my doppelganger being Kermit the
I'm
Frog.
not going to have 6 horribly overweight wives, though. Like, or one.
Just 3? I was going to say just 3.
Like his wife, like he's a pretty good looking dude, I think, Well,
because he looks like you is why you think that.
He's a decent looking guy, but the girls are like compare Ashley to his wife.
I've never watched it. I don't know what
it's okay. I've not. She made me watch it one time, and I was like, I can't watch those shows. I cannot watch those shows. I have no interest in other people's relationships, like any of those relationship shows. Like, I have a hard time, dealing with my own. Like, why do I want to watch some other multiple dysfunctional relationships going on? Like, in the back and forth banter just makes me crazy. They're like so stupid. I just feel like
I watch
dumber.
My guilty pleasure when it comes to reality TV, because I actually despise everything about reality TV.
Me too.
Because it's not. It's a oxymoron. It's all scripted and it's whatever. And they're actors. They're paid actors. They're not even real people. They're all people with agents that got that job and they were hired for that job. But the only one I really delve into, and this is relatively recent for me, is because I have an infatuation with this city and this country that I want to move to, and it's the Real Housewives of Dubai.
Okay. Yeah. Well, at least we get to see the scenery and cool things going on. Yeah. God, that was Dubai. But oh my God, like super uber rich women running around. Like, I want to listen to that.
It's like cat fights all the time too, man.
Oh God,
I love it.
Why would you watch that?
Because every time I think, I'm like, I could save her. I could save her from all of this. I could be the bright spot of her otherwise dismal life.
I knew it. Yep. You're the guy that also thinks the stripper wants him. Okay.
What do you mean think? What are you talking about?
Check your credit card receipt, buddy. Any great comments? We need anything else from Rick that we need to put on before we say goodbye?
See. Michael Leroux chimed in. Brian Engblom has said he's a 3-time winner of the Cup, but his name is only on it twice. He didn't meet the playing time rules as a rookie to get his name on the Cup. They've since changed that. Right. So, I know about all that, and I knew I'd heard him say he was a 3-time winner. I just was wondering what his thoughts were, because the team could have put his name on the Cup if they wanted to in 77.
He would. Yeah, he would meet the requirements or whatever. And now it's just up to the discretion of the team. And
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good to know.
So thank you, Michael. Yeah, Brian Engblom is one of my hockey heroes. There's no question.
Yeah, we'll definitely get him on. We'll get him on the show for sure. All right. We will take a 48-hour break. I hope you guys have a weekend. Bolts and Islanders Saturday night. Come say hello to me at Amalie Arena. We got the Pro Bowl on Saturday as well. And then we'll be back on Monday with probably some more Rays news and maybe a new Bucs OC. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you on Monday.
Thank you.